question of where the policy direction will come next year obviously depends on the outcome of the election, both for the president and the Congress. It's very important that there be a Democratic majority in order to deliver on the kinds of programs that the country needs so badly. I do think it's also important to listen to what Joe Biden has said, which is he wants to work across party lines, and he wants to have Democrats but also Republicans as working together again. It's 2 weeks to go. I'm not going to handicap the elections, but I think it's important to remember that the driving force in the new Congress will be the new president if Joe Biden is elected. And the policies that he's proposed are the right policies. It would be a strong response to the health crisis, both in terms of health policy and in terms of the economic response. It would be a program to rebuild America, building our infrastructure, helping grow the workforce in the service area with skills and better pay to provide the home care and child care that's so important, and a host of things, including technology, so that people won't lose their signal in the middle of interviews or in the middle of class if they're learning from home. I think there's a huge amount of work to do, and you need to have a working majority in Congress to get your program through. I think it's important to remember that working with Congress is always a challenge, whether it's your own party or a divided Congress. And I think Joe Biden has the capacity, whatever the Congress is, to work to get the job done. I obviously think that there'll be a better outcome if the full program can be enacted. And we'll see in 2 weeks if that comes.
One thing you didn't mention, Secretary Lew, though, on that to-do list that Joe Biden has talked a lot about is raising taxes, whether it's on corporations or on higher earning Americans. I just wanted you to listen to what Paul Tudor Jones said on Squawk Box as it relates to how that might influence the markets in the longer run.
I think the narrative around what will happen if we have that blue wave will be correct in the sense that next year you're going to get a massive fiscal stimulus. You're going to get a big boost to the economy. There's no doubt that Main Street under this program is going to benefit, and you probably will have higher nominal profits. But the other side of that is what also happens to financial assets. And I think under a blue wave and the Biden tax plan, I think financial assets over the long run suffer a great deal.
Well, I would beg to
Mr.
differ.
Secretary, is he right?
Yeah, I don't think that's right. I think if you look at where independent analysts like Moody's have come out, if you look at where more than a dozen Nobel laureates have come out, they look at the combination of the stimulus needed to get the economy moving, the investment to get the future economy into a place where we can continue to grow in a sustained way, will lead to more growth and more employment, which means a stronger economy, which means that ultimately financial assets do better in a strong economy. I think if you look at the tax plan, you have to remember that there's a lot of things in our tax code that were broken before the tax cut, and they were broken even more after the tax cut. You look at the corporate tax rate, and I think we've discussed this before. When I was secretary, we were negotiating between going to 28 and 25%. The tax rate was set at 21%. It was a windfall. It's not going to be crushing to corporate America if we end up with the tax rate at 28%, substantially below the 35 that we all thought was too high. If you look at the problems we have in this country, I give credit to Vice President Biden for saying after we deal with the emergency, we have to start paying for the investments we make. It was a mistake to do the tax cut on the credit card. He said he's going to pay for it by pulling back on some of the tax cuts that went to increase inequality, and he's going to pay for the investments we need to build a better economy for the future. There's too much capital gain in this country that goes untaxed by going generation to generation, never being taxed.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.